Culture Podcast. It's your host, GJack, along with my co-host,
Mr. D713.
Mr. D713, man. How's it going? What's been up?
Everything great, baby. I cannot complain, man. Life is good, work is good, money straight, health is good, man. So it's a blessing. How about yourself?
Hey, man, I had a blessed week, man. It went by fast. Is it just me, or like this week just went by super fast?
Nah, it's kind of slow on my side, but hey, it's good though, man.
You must have had people at your job getting your nerves this week or something.
No comment.
But that's good, man. You got any plans this weekend?
This weekend is the wife's birthday, man. So we'll spend time with her. We'll probably go take her to go see Chef. Then we take her to perhaps Pele, take her shopping. Just relax. Nothing major.
Pele, is that it's a coat, ain't it? Like, isn't it like a black brand, clothing brand?
Possibly.
I just remember Kanye said he used to put a Pele on layaway. So I thought it was like a black clothing brand or something.
Man, we could ask our guests about that in a second. It is a clothing brand. Okay, it's a clothing brand, man. Yeah. But I just know it's a restaurant down here in Houston, man. So we go check it out.
Okay.
Hey, what about yourself? Any plans?
Man, we going down to good old East Texas, man, this weekend.
For the celebration?
For the celebration, man. Going to celebrate Juneteenth.
I may try to hit the wife up tomorrow and see if she want to do like a quick parade in the morning or something. They got a lot of things going down around here in the area, but I may try to celebrate next weekend as well because I think they celebrate both weekends.
Okay. You know, it started in Galveston, so I mean, you can maybe head down there for a couple hours, maybe turn around trip, come back.
Possibly, probably not.
Something like that.
But we'll figure it out.
But anyway, man, we got special guests in the building today. We got Miss Honey B. Let's give it up for Miss Honey B. Miss Honey B, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're great.
Good.
Well, Miss Honey B, we'll get right to it. Normally, what we do, we have guests on the show. We have a special segment called The Makings of You. And on The Makings of You, Mr. D713 will ask you a few questions about yourself so our audience can get a chance to get to know you a little bit better.
All right.
Mr. D713, you got the questions for us?
Always. Okay, so Honeybee. So, of course, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, let's start off with your childhood. So, how were you raised?
Childhood, how was I raised? I was raised in a two-parent household, middle class, like upper middle class, given all the opportunities in the world, good education. Both of my parents were highly educated. Both of them had their masters and they worked in professional fields. I have a sister. I have a twin sister, so I'm very close to her.
Identical twin or just?
I have an identical twin sister.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was tough at times, but she was my best friend and my biggest enemy also. But we love each other. And so I would say very, very good childhood. Didn't ever want for anything. Didn't ever see anything bad in the household. Loving parents.
So like middle class?
Middle class, yeah. We had, the brick house in the black neighborhood.
2-story?
No, not 2-story. We didn't run downstairs.
What's with you in these 2-story houses, man?
Man, I just have something when I just running down the stairs on Christmas Day. That's just like something you see on Hallmark.
I know some people that actually rent out the bottom part of their house. So you never know how people doing with a 2-story house. They could live in a townhome.
Possibly, but I just have questions about it.
Well, my mom said she didn't want a 2-story house with young kids, the running up and down the stairs and stuff like that. So, but
I'm with mom, so I agree with mom.
Yeah, 1 story.
Okay. Did you go to public school or private school?
I went to public school for my elementary and then private when I went to middle school. My parents felt like that was a pivotal point in most kids' educational, journey where they either excelled educationally or they were behind. So we went to a private Episcopalian school, and even though we're not Episcopalian, but they love their curriculum. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what helped us excel and realize that school was going to be a major focus if we wanted to excel in life.
Okay.
And then back to high school, we went back to public school because I realized we were coddled.
Yeah.
It was not real world. Exactly. And if college was going to be our next step, then maybe coddling us was not going to help us with the real world, where people weren't going to force us to do our homework, but guide us through those things. It was like, hey, you do it, you get a grade, you don't.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And just clarify, from Houston area?
I am from the Houston area, Mo City.
Born and raised?
Born and raised, Herman Hospital.
Mo City pretty, ain't mad.
Yeah.
Okay. So, going from your childhood, seeing both your parents from Houston as well?
No, they're both actually from Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
So my dad's from Strong, Arkansas. My mom's from Magnolia, Arkansas. So very small towns. My dad's from like a town of less than 1,000, and my mom's from a little bit more. So probably about 20,000 people at most. But it's a college town, so most of their students in Magnolia were or most people in Magnolia were college students.
Okay. And going further, as far as your going to college, I heard you mention. So where did you attend college? You want to share?
Oh, I went to University of North Texas, Go Mean Green, and then I graduated with my master's from UH.
All right.
Yeah.
So with all those things being said, with all those things being said, so how do you think that plays a part in your family now? So what is your household like now?
My personal household or with my
personal household?
My personal household, I would say all of that is I didn't necessarily seek out to have a 2-parent household for my kids, but it was definitely something that I saw and I knew I wanted for stability. I saw all of the good times that my parents had, the vacations we took. I saw maybe the pressures to give us what we wanted so that we can fit in. And so I kind of realized that a little bit with my children. I have 2 kids. So it's a little bit of all of that. Like right now, when I left the house to come over here, I put on an educational video. So I'm trying to stress education for my 3-year-old, and she's learning her alphabets and all that kind of stuff. So I think it set me up to understand the dynamics of a 2-parent household, to see that example and what's happening in the environment I'm putting my kids in.
Okay, so 2 kids.
Yes.
Married.
Yes.
It's still in the area you was raised in, technically.
Yep.
All right.
I was born and raised in Missouri City. I live in Missouri City.
All right. So.
But the good part now.
So, what was your favorite holiday when you were growing up?
I like Thanksgiving. And it wasn't, and I don't like Thanksgiving food. I like Thanksgiving for the aspect of it seems less stressful to deal with the gifts. It wasn't commercialized as much as like Easter with the eggs and all that kind of stuff. And I read up about it, and I was like, the goddess of fertility is just, the buying the outfits, the Easter speeches. I felt like Thanksgiving, we all just got together, we ate, we chopped it up, we all fell asleep, we woke back up, we ate some more, and we just kicked it. It wasn't about gifts, it wasn't about any of that. And I feel like it set the other holidays in motion, like Christmas, New Year's.
It's like the beginning of the holiday season.
Yeah, it was like the beginning of the holiday season. But now as an adult, I really like Halloween.
Okay.
You're the second person to say that they like Halloween with the kids. I
like Halloween with the kids, and taking them out, and like personally, before I had the kids, I just felt like it was a time to just be fun.
Yeah.
Like I have a stuck-up job, but that was a time I got to put on something and for a night just go and party and act like I was somebody else. Not necessarily somebody else, but a cat or
something else.
So, what was your favorite food growing up?
Ooh. Food, I would say shrimp. I can almost eat any type of shrimp, unless it's coconut. I don't like coconut.
And do you prepare it, or did your family prepare it, or you just go out and get it?
I prepare it. My husband prepares it. My mom prepared it. I mean, I love fried shrimp. I haven't tasted, unless they braid it too much or something, but I like to saute it. I like it in pasta. I like it,
Okay, shrimp's the favorite food.
I can tolerate fried shrimp, but I like anything like grilled shrimp or sauteed
grilled.
shrimp.
I can put on a kebab. I can put it on anything. I think I could add it to almost anything, and I like it.
Okay, and in your household, like when you were growing up, did you have chores?
I did. I had chores like every other week rotated for dishes for me and my sister. We had to wash our own clothes. We had to cook. My mom was like, having a mom from Arkansas, she's very, very heavy in traditions. And so like the typical women, I don't want to say women's role, but We had to dust. We had to do baseboards. We had to help wash down cabinets because we had white cabinets. My mom didn't like dirt. So like we rotated all of that. We had to help her clean out the refrigerator and all the, white stuff or, anything like that. So we had chores.
Okay.
Sweeping floors, mopping floors. Yeah.
And when your kids get a little bit older, are they going to have chores as well?
They will, definitely. Of
Man,
course.
my 4-year-old, I have an 11-year-old and a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, but the 11 and 4-year-old, the 11-year-old takes out the trash, and the 4-year-old already knows he needs to go get a trash bag and put it back in the trash can.
All right, you got the system together.
Yeah. Now when they get a little bit older, man, we get this cutting the grass and weed eating. Man, they gonna start saving me some money.
Yeah. That's their contribution to the household.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sharon, about your childhood, your upbringing, and the makings of you. We greatly appreciate that.
No problem.
All right, GJack, what you got for us?
Man, so today we got some pretty interesting topics. I mean, of course, with it being Juneteenth weekend, we're gonna talk about Juneteenth. We got a lot of stuff to talk about with that here in Texas.
H-Town to be exact.
H-Town, East Texas. Right, so today's topics, we have Juneteenth, since it's Juneteenth weekend, reparations, and budget practices. So we're going to start with Juneteenth. Mr. D713, you want to kind of let our listeners know who are out there and don't really know what Juneteenth is, or may not be from Texas and be familiar with the holiday?
Okay, I'm gonna give a quick gist of what Juneteenth is, just from my point of view as well as what's written. But we grew up in East Texas, or Upper East Texas, you say, at Tyler, and we celebrated quite a bit, but parades and things of that nature. But Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration commemorating the end of slavery in the United States, dating back to 1865. I apologize. It was June 19th when the Union soldiers that was led by Gordon Granger that landed in Galveston, that was letting the people of Galveston, slave owners and the slaves, to know that they are free. Now, so they try to talk about why it was such a delay. It was a 2.5-year delay when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, but not until, and that was in 1863, but not until 1865 when Galveston and Texas and the rest of the slaves knew. Now, it's alleged rumors that the messenger was murdered on the way to Texas before the announcement was made, but it was made in Galveston about it, and it was a big deal that a lot of slave owners was upset because they wanted to get one more harvest out of the slaves, cotton harvest out of the slaves before it can come around. So that's a little bit of the gist of it.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
So Miss Honeybee, how do you guys celebrate, you and your family, do y'all celebrate Juneteenth?
Not really. I mean, I know what it is. I know like listening to Black radio, like around this time, they're always promoting some type of parade, but it isn't something that's highlighted that we have to go and participate. Back in the day, I think I might have went to a couple of parades or maybe performed a time or two with like the band or something. But nothing really, I can't say it's engraved in my, tradition.
Yeah, barbecue or anything?
No, not really.
What?
Yeah, I know. And I'm from Houston.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do any of your friends or anyone else really celebrate it like that?
Not that they like brought me along or invited me out to events or, no, not really.
How about you, Mr. D713?
Man, we from Tyler, Texas. We do it big for Juneteenth. Like growing up in North Tyler, well, I grew up in St. Louis, a part of Tyler, then I moved to North Tyler during my 8th grade year. But even when I was on South Tyler, Juneteenth was like our 4th of July. That was like, we had parades, we had music. It was always a dance at, what was the biker spot? What was it called? The Truckers.
Fleetside Truck. Oh, the Truckers Dance.
The Truckers Dance,
yeah.
Man. And it was something we looked forward to getting older, but it was just a huge occasion for the city. It's like threw candy out on the trucks. Everybody brought their slabs out.
Yeah.
And for the people that don't know what a slab is, it's usually an older vehicle, Cadillac, Lincoln, something somewhat of a DeVille on some rims with candy paint, wood grain, things of that nature. Escalades would be brought into, usually Cadillacs, but all in all being loud music. But it was a celebration. Now, I don't know how many people knew what they were exactly were celebrating, but my family really pushed on the history of Juneteenth. How about you, GJack?
Yeah, I think I went, once when I was a kid. Now, I went a lot when I was a kid. Don't get me wrong, but I think I'm trying to remember the first time I went. I think it was with my childhood friend K Ford. Shout out to K Ford.
Already.
His grandfather was in the I think the Fleaside Truckers in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So we would always go with them and ride in the truck with them and stuff like that. We were young, and that was my first time being introduced to it. But I've never seen so many African Americans in one spot, and everybody's just in such great spirits, man. I mean, like, you get up, everybody's just lined up, got their best outfits on, pull out the new cars, new motorcycles, see kids on four-wheelers and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just, everybody was just there having a good time. It was just a good feeling, you know?
And I thought everybody celebrated. You know, me being from, once again, Tyler, Texas, not seeing much, I started to learn later on in life it wasn't celebrated nationwide. Can you guys put some insight why it's not celebrated nationwide?
Because it has to be programmed into people to realize the importance of this holiday. Mm-hmm. And I think that for the small majority that we represent as far as pushing power and pushing events and things of that nature, this isn't one of the events that someone of power is going to say, we better have a Juneteenth. It's not even a federal holiday.
It used to be.
It's not anymore.
Yeah, it's not anymore.
Okay, so
it's not like MLK Day where it's a federal holiday. People get off work. They emphasize that there's, mass media about something. Yeah.
See, I thought at one point, they were pushing to make it a federal holiday, but they never made it happen.
They're trying to do it again now. But when it first started, they really try to push because what other day do African Americans or any Americans celebrate the freedom of slaves?
They basically say, y'all got February, right?
Yeah, but
y'all got MLK
February
Day.
is more like, I guess, the way I think about it is it's more like the recognition of great black people and our contributions to America.
American history.
American history, yeah.
But I agree, but that's what they are saying. Just be happy with February, and that's why I say
MLK Day. Don't forget MLK Day.
Yeah, that's the day they let you go. They let you be home if you're allowed to.
Right.
But I do say allowed to. But the thing about it with Juneteenth, like I over the years, it's been to the point that I really don't celebrate July 4th so much because with Juneteenth, I don't think of any other day. You can do January 1st. That's when the proclamation went into effect. But Juneteenth is actually when all the slaves in the 45 states at that time were free. But it started as a federal holiday, then it went into segregation to a sense. They started putting laws together that you couldn't celebrate, you couldn't go to certain parks, you couldn't have a good time. Then they stopped it over a time in the early 1900s. Then they tried to bring it back up. They started, people from Texas started going to Seattle, they went to California. They really tried to push about Juneteenth for to make it another federal holiday. Now, I think that's something we need to start doing again, and that's why I love talking about it, especially doing this show, so we can spread the knowledge of what is Juneteenth and why it's important to our community.
Yeah, you got a point, man. Maybe that you're on to something, man. We can make a change, man. Maybe we can throw a little Juneteenth celebration this time next year in Houston. Bring some awareness to it.
I mean, there are a couple of events. Yeah. There's one in Pearland coming up. There's one on maybe.
Yeah, Emancipation Park. That's what when we started in. That's the Emancipation Park was named after Juneteenth, really pushing it. There's a lot of people that don't know that.
From what I read, is the Emancipation Park is the only place that, because after we were free, we still had to deal with the segregation laws and stuff like that. So Emancipation Park was the only place we could go where they gave us a land where we could actually celebrate as black people. We didn't really have anywhere we could go before then to celebrate. That was the only spot that we could go to celebrate, as black people, us being free.
Emancipation means freedom. Yeah, and they literally made a whole street after it and renamed that street that way because they wanted to show that we are free. Yeah. This is somewhere that we can gather and for us. Yeah. And that's sad that they gave us a place for us, which means are any other places not for us?
And that's something I want to touch on in a moment about the segregation versus desegregation. But I'm still on why isn't Juneteenth celebrated compared to Cinco de Mayo, St. Patrick's Day? Some holidays don't really have anything affected with the American culture. St. Patrick's Day is an Irish holiday. Cinco de Mayo is a
we go
Mexican
get our
holiday.
green shirts
Well, let me ask you this: whose fault is that, though? Is that us as African Americans for not putting as much attention on it? Because I know I've been to a few Cinco de Mayo celebrations, and they lit. Don't get me wrong, but I've also been to Juneteenth though. But like you said, a lot of people down here just don't celebrate it like that.
Do you think it's the negativeness behind it? Like, I think Juneteenth is about the slavery ending. Like, are you sure everybody's happy that slavery ended?
Yeah.
Well, I've heard the point of view from some people from up north, people I know in other states. Even some of my friends says that they use Juneteenth of it's ignorance. Like, oh, how didn't y'all know everybody was free? Like, do you understand we were enslaved? Do you know what slavery
It's kind of like people who say, why didn't slaves fight back?
Yeah, exactly.
So
or
no
slavery
choice.
was a choice.
Right, okay.
Yeezy.
Yeah.
But those are things go in effect, but I'm telling you, people use that as a point, like, well, y'all should have known already. And that's why anybody that's thinking like that, I challenge you once again, what day do you celebrate freedom in America being a slave, coming from slavery? Like,
I think that's an ignorant statement from anybody who says that, because you have no idea what was going on in 1865.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like, what was the communication?
Huge celebration. But once again, it was downplayed or downsized by the previous slave owners. Let's say that. They saw the celebration. They no longer wanted to make the celebration. So now, and I think it's continued to be this way, that people are trying to downplay it. They really want us to forget. And that's why important we need to keep talking about it, keep sharing it, keep celebrating it. Because if we stop doing it 20, 30, 50, 100 years later, we're not going to even know about slavery probably. We already see they're trying to remove it from the books, but that's another thing. But going to the topic we was touched on a little bit, it stopped so much when we have certain parts and things, when we went from segregation, when we had segregation and they eliminate segregation. So do you think things are better with segregation or being desegregated? Before or after segregation, let's say that.
I think desegregation was the worst thing that ever happened to the black people. Like, we had to spend our black dollars together. We had to rely on each other and our crafts and our skills because we couldn't rely on anybody else. And then as soon as the desegregation happened, we literally went out there and felt like their stuff is better. All the stuff that we couldn't have, now we can. The forbidden fruit, I can go and eat it.
The white man water is colder.
Right. Okay. And at that point, we lost it where our dollars didn't stay in our community. And I think then we started accepting that their materials, their values, and their views were superior to ours. And that's what forced us, I think, into a warped mind frame.
So let me ask y'all this. Do y'all feel like we're still slaves in a way?
Oh, definitely.
Without the shackles?
Definitely. That's my number one concept of why we don't really celebrate Juneteenth like we should, is because I think we truly are still slaves in some form or fashion. Yes, without the shackles. But every day we get up and we go and work for the man. It's like a system. It's no longer like a slave owner. It's a system owner. And we systematically we have to rely on them for still food, for shelter. Because if we don't go to their grocery stores, we got our own. We making our own stuff. Very few of us are. Less than 5% of the African American people know how to solely survive on their own hands, on their own land.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask, I'm sorry, Mr. D. But let me ask you this though. Have y'all seen that Killer Mike special on Netflix?
Yeah.
Where he had that one episode where he tried to shop black.
Yeah, that was his first episode.
Yeah. He couldn't do it.
That's sad.
He couldn't do it.
It's so sad. That's why I don't understand how we think we're going to start a revolution if we can't even feed ourselves, if we can't even go and buy, if we can't even survive by ourselves. And money is the number one key to it. And we don't even have enough money to even take our stuff away, even though we have money. Do you understand how much we stimulate the economy? We are the most having money is not having money is people in the world.
Yeah.
We don't I know that's bad, grammar and all, but we have money. They come and put their shops in our neighborhoods because they understand we're gonna buy the liquor, we're gonna buy the weed, we're gonna shop, and we're gonna eat McDonald's, we're gonna eat the Burger King. They not taking all their money out because no.
But do you think now
they put the wrong things in our neighborhood?
Do you think that's just African Americans though? Do you think it's African Americans or just poor people in general that they put that we're the consumers? That we're pretty much primarily the consumer that's going to spend our money on the dumb stuff, and never keep the dollar recycling in our neighborhoods and in our community.
I mean, I think every community, they realize what gets us.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to some Latin American communities, they really value hanging out.
Yeah.
So they have a little bit more clubs than we do.
Right.
They have those nightclubs where they're going to sit there and party that way. They have a little bit more restaurants and things of that nature. In ours, we don't really have that, but we have food. They know we gonna eat the bad stuff, even the cheap stuff. They know we gonna buy the liquor. We gonna, go and we need the daycare centers. That's the kind of stuff they see that we spend our money on, and they put that in our neighborhood.
And when going back even to I think when you say slavery, we're still in shackles. I think we released a slave, but we went into a different type of slavery that a lot of other people are victims of, not only African Americans. But white people, Mexican people, Asians, they all are victim to that American type of consumerism that we consider slavery. It's like you gotta have these certain things. Now, we were never given the leg up, not even the leg up, the equal chance. That's the biggest thing. Where we go back to where we can transition to reparations.
Yeah.
We were never given those things. We were never, even a mindset. It was just like good luck. And they continued to make things, not even good luck. It was like, okay, you're free. Get the hell off my property.
Yeah.
Okay. I know, what? You're allowed to work here. That's what it was said. You were allowed to be an employee. Then sharecropping came in.
Mm-hmm.
Then it came into what was called the black laws. I mean, all these things went against, and then segregation. Those things, I think segregation, I don't think is a bad thing totally, because they go back to the cultural diversity. I think, if we just stayed to ourselves to a sense, maybe we would not even want to grow. I know a lot of black people have grown from being segregated, I apologize. But desegregated. But either way, it's to the point now, it's like some people are able to do some things. Mm-hmm. If we had years without it, would we have been better? I don't know. That's something that we
think of the concept about Wakanda. Like, if the whole movie was if we were left alone, mm-hmm. if we were in Africa, look how much we could have excelled. There was many tribes. You can call a tribe a gang, but they all lived in peace.
Correct.
They had enough resources. They had enough education.
You said I was going to say resources. The biggest resource when they were talking about Wakanda was vibranium. Vibranium. That was the main thing, the resource, and that was the most valuable resource. You can look at Africa now. You got gold, you have diamonds, but it's being stolen and being sold back to them. They mine it, give it away, and it's sold back to them again. It was sold back to us. But here in America, we didn't have any resources. That's the point. The reparations were supposed to be our resources.
Yep.
We were told to survive without resources.
Right.
So that's when we say now we had Black Wall Street, we climbed up to it, and that was destroyed. That was still the largest terroristic threat or terroristic attack on American soil still to this day.
But do we talk about it?
Well, a lot of people don't. No.
They don't.
And I would say, as a total, we do not talk about it. And once again, I'll be posting these things later on our website, as well as our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. But that's why we want to talk about these things. This is the things that affect our culture still to this day.
Let me ask you this, just to kind of briefly go back to the slave thing we were talking about earlier. Uh-huh. So I know you said earlier you didn't like the comment that Kanye West made about us slavery being a choice. Right. But do you think he was referring to it as being a choice now, like still being a slave, like we just said? Do we have to go out and buy McDonald's? Do we have to go out and continue to give them our money? Or can we have a cultural change where we don't put it all in the videos or all in our face all the time, where that's a cool thing to do, to go out and blow our money?
Well, in the context of the question that was asked to him, no. We talked about this before, and I don't mind talking about it again. That was a dumb way to say that. Now, if he wanted to say that, he should have went ahead and said all the things you just said. But he didn't. He just said slavery was a choice. And it took me back to, you can talk about with Killmonger and Black Panther. You can go back to, I was thinking the movie is, I'm sorry, it's a slip in my mind. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie with the Jewish, and they had the bear in it. And it was one part that, like, you have a choice. Either you can kill yourself, or you can continue being enslaved.
Oh, you're talking about and when you were talking
Inglourious Bastards.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen Inglourious Bastards, but it was a scene in there. It's like, he gave him the gun. You can shoot the person that's putting you in slavery right now. But you got all these people out here who's gonna kill you. You have your choice.
But when you were talking about Black Panther, you were referring to the part where he said he'd rather die with his ancestors or something like
in
that.
The water that
in the
jumped
waters
off the
in the
boat
river.
and fall.
Yeah.
And I looked at that, but I'm like, some of your ancestors had to live, you wouldn't be here.
Right.
Some of your ancestors had to go through them things, unfortunately. Now, that's the choice you have, and that part, I think he's alive. But all in all being said, he doesn't have children to continue to spread his word and what he believes in as well. And that's what happened. If you don't have anybody that's going to continue telling your message or telling your story, the legacy you have is going to be erased.
So do you feel like the ones who did jump ship, was that like a pride thing? Or do you think that it was, do you commend them for jumping ship?
I do.
And not wanting to be a slave? Or do you more commend the people who actually stuck through it?
I commend both.
Okay.
And I think you should commend both. It took both.
But how though? I mean, if you jump ship, your pride is in the way, so you rather kill yourself than to continue on your legacy for your children and generations to come.
Ah, man, that's really tough. Like, the ones that jumped, I'm not sure if it was courageous because they realized they didn't want that life, or if it was fear of not understanding what that life was. They hadn't made it over there. They had no idea what they were about to get themselves into. And some people fear that, and some people like, okay, well, let me figure it out what it's going to be about. And those are the ones that were on the ship. And I mean, at the end of the day, who knows? They probably wish they would have jumped.
But what about the ones that fought? That's what I'm thinking about. The ones that had that. Would you continue to allow the slavery to happen when you see your family being torn apart, being dragged away?
I mean, but what resources did you have to fight? And at the end of the day, if you
These
fight,
hands.
We all say that, which would make sense, but
they riding around on a horse with the gun, and at the end of the day, you starve. At the end of the day, you don't have.
You can't win a gunfight with a knife, man.
That did fight. Like, you had spears, they had bow and arrows, they had guerrilla warfare. Even with there's that
and
situation
go where?
right
That
there.
would be my whole thing. I would not mind fighting if I knew that there was a goal for my fighting. If I knew that once I defeated you, I had somewhere to go. But if I looked and I said, man, if I literally fight you right now, I have no idea what's beyond those trees right there because you ain't never let me go. That's fear. And that's why a lot of people stayed there. It's because they didn't know what else was out there. Am I about to go starve? At least I know I got a room here. I'm picking this cotton. This is what I was, bred into doing.
And that's a fear that's been taught to us and bred into us for some time.
Right.
What are we doing now?
Right? No,
that's true.
A lot of us still don't want to fight. A lot of them still.
A lot of us,
like you just said, we still in these shackles.
It's a sense of comfort and I mean, it's off topic, but like that's the same reason why some people don't get into entrepreneurship. Yeah. They don't have the fear, they don't have the faith. And I feel like slaves are that same way. They didn't leave because they didn't have the faith that they could survive without the people who they felt like were the only resources that they had.
Correct. It's like you take the resources and you make it seem like, well, you have to get these resources from me. And like, I know, and this is off topic as well, that it's in many states that you cannot catch rainwater.
Yeah.
Like, and hold it. And like, you can't make your own wells. You still have to pay taxes. And like, that doesn't make sense to me at all.
Why are we paying for electricity? Why are you paying so much for electricity?
It's because it's the money.
They give us something that we may like. We make it that we want. They make it think it's something we need, and we continue to pay for it.
Let me tell you this, and this is what I found out when I bought my house. You know, when you buy houses, especially in Houston, which is weird, when you buy houses like in these master plan communities and stuff like this, you know that you don't own the mineral rights to your house.
Right, you have to sign over the mineral rights.
You got to sign over the mineral
anything,
rights.
they get to take
that's
your
all in
property.
Texas. You buy the ground, you don't get that oil.
No, when I bought my house in Tyler, I had the mineral rights too.
Yeah. That's how my parents were in Arkansas, and they still get a check because they found money on it.
Well, they're getting smart, that's why.
Well, I think it's just here though. I don't know. I think the people who are selling this land and stuff like that, I mean, they know. They're like, all right, well, I can sell it. You can build all these houses and stuff, this big pretty community, but we found oil here. We taking that shit back.
Right. That's
There
how
ain't nothing you can do about it.
How selfish is that? And we literally sign it and keep on moving.
See, and we get into detail about land and property. Once again, when we were freed as slaves, what did we receive?
Nothing.
How many other cultures or people that was victims of slavery or discrimination received
reparations?
Reparations.
I mean, if you Google it, there's 6 counts in history where people have been given reparations. And basically, it's making you not necessarily whole, but first and foremost, they accept they did something wrong. And I feel like that's the part that we haven't got to as a society, is we have not accepted. Like, we'll say, oh yeah, slavery was wrong, it's been abolished, you guys are good, but they never made us whole. They never provided us the resources, because they realized how in deficit they put us because of the mistreatment.
And the best way to say Malcolm has said, I think I said on the previous show, if you stab me in my back with a 12-inch knife and you pull out 6 inches, you still got 6 inches to go. I still got, and you like, are you okay now? You happy? No, I'm still stabbed, bro. What's going on?
Yeah.
Maybe it's America's just ashamed of that. You know, like, I don't know why they're not ashamed of like the Holocaust and.
I mean, they actually got reparations.
They got
Germany
reparations.
gave them reparations, and then the other part is they accepted they were wrong, that they shouldn't have done that. They went back, they wrote it in the history books, and took full accountability of being wrong. And then they also did what took all the remnants of that away. Yeah. They don't have not one Holocaust like statue. They don't have any of those colonels, those generals, and people who did that massacre to those people. Yeah. Meanwhile, in the South, what we do?
Celebrate it.
Exactly.
Got the flag.
And how dare you take down, Colonel such and such who was over the Confederate.
John Tyler.
Thank you. And we sit there and look at people like, y'all shouldn't be hurt. We'll just leave this man up here who killed all y'all. It's fine. Y'all can look at it.
Y'all went around.
This is our history.
Y'all are strong. Y'all get over it.
Right.
And then we got some of us celebrated ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, do you think maybe just enough of us aren't complaining about it? Like, maybe a lot of us are just passive. I mean, I know I'm guilty of being passive with stuff like that in the past. So,
I mean, you're passive because it doesn't directly affect you. Yeah. And that's why most people are passive about anything. That until it directly affects you is when you're going to sit here and speak up. Whether it's honestly, anything.
Yeah.
I mean, and we comfortable. Like, why would I make a noise? I'm over here trying to figure out how I'm going to eat, how I'm going to pay my bills, make sure, my family's good, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to sit here.
It's almost the same example with guys that I didn't respect women until I had a daughter. Then you have some.
That kills me. Like, you didn't have a mama, like you didn't have an aunt.
But they telling the truth, though.
They are, until it directly affects you.
And same thing, I've been.
Maybe they just hadn't got caught yet disrespecting women, so they can say, hey, well, because of my daughters, when I changed, I ain't disrespected a woman since I had a daughter, but
perhaps,
it's coming.
Exactly.
But example, like real life, I was at my old job back in the day, and I went out to do a visit, a home study. And while doing so, I recognized I was with one of my Caucasian peers, and I recognized immediately the signs we were going to deep East Texas, the extremely rural area. And I started seeing they had a fence, like I think it was electrified. They had a camera at the fence, and it was open. And I felt a little uneasy. They had a lot of property, and it was Caucasian, some grandparents and one of their grandchildren, but the grandchildren was biracial. And I'm walking around.
Ain't that the best?
But listen, man. So I can tell the whole town, like, it's not that many African Americans around. Like, their daughter moved to Houston, got pregnant by a drug dealer. They're nightmare for many people. Okay, but I was looking around. I saw like 3 Confederate flags around, and I'm peeping game. I got my guard up. My peer, he's casually talking, not paying attention to much, but I'm seeing everything. I'm very professional, cordial. But I recognize, the type of temperament they had there, and I recognized that the grandfather wasn't there as well. But the grandmother was very sweet and kind, and when my peer stepped off a little bit to talk to the kids, the grandmother came to me and she said, you know what, years ago, your kind and my kind did not mix. We did not really like y'all around, did not want you to, we didn't accept it. But not until I had my grandchildren that I understand we're all the same, we're accepted. And, I smiled and was professional cordial, but I'm like, I'm refraining from cursing you guys. But I was really kind of set back, like it took that for you to start respecting me as a human being.
Yeah, it does.
Like, and for you to see, it's a child that's part of my blood to be mixed. And that's how I feel about segregation sometimes. It's like, it took that to happen for people to start realizing, they're not bad people. Like, if we didn't have segregation, how much, I think, I look to the Native Americans, unfortunately. Like, I think we probably would have been eliminated. We would have been exterminated from being here in America if that would continue to happen. Because a lot of us don't fight.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the resources to fight all the people here at the time.
Yeah. Well, back to subject of reparations, though. I mean, I know I was watching YouTube the other day. I saw this interview with Charlamagne and Killer Mike. Man, and Killer Mike always is on point with his interviews. But this one really stuck out to me with his take on reparations. I'm gonna play the clip real quick, and then we'll come back to it and we'll discuss. My opinion on it, though, I believe every African American should get reparations. Only because I think because of their decision to enslave us, that every African American is affected by it. So I feel like the only way that we can start this conversation or to make us whole, my personal opinion, I feel like we should all at least get some type of piece of land, some deed-free land that we can build whatever we want on it. And then we can decide that we come together and put our resources together and build something on to start our own Wakanda or whatever, Second thing.
State or something like that.
Huh?
A whole state, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be cool. Just whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll work it out. But just some type of land, deed free that's owed to us. I feel like our children should be able to go to college for free for however long we were enslaved, but 246 years here in America.
Wow.
Our children should be able to get free education up to a doctor's degree for the next 246 years. And they should also wipe out all student loans for all African Americans.
Got my vote.
If you do that, I think we can take it from there. I think we'll be there. We'll be even at that point.
You honestly think that's enough?
I think it's enough.
I think it will help with the financial freedom.
Yeah.
Because what are we doing every day? We're working so we can pay for a mortgage, so we can pay for our kids' education, so that we can sit here and have some land, some property, some this, some that. If you give that to us, it'll at least give us a leg up to where that's not what we're working for, and we will have some type of financial freedom.
And I believe that.
I like it.
Let me get this point across. I think that it's kind of like taking a test and already having the answers to it. Like, think about this. If our ancestors had got all that back in the day,
they would have taxed it.
They would
have took it away immediately.
How do you know that?
That's what they probably would do now.
But I'm saying, like, if they gave it to us directly after slavery, you know what I'm saying? They gave it to us directly after slavery. I think we wouldn't have. Having it now, I think we'll be able to prosper a little bit better with the knowledge that we have. Because we do, I mean, we say we're enslaved to the United States, but we do have a lot of liberties here that we can learn.
Absolutely.
We had the opportunity to go to school. We're a lot more knowledgeable. We have people in higher places, have experienced a lot more stuff that, our ancestors, our grandparents didn't get to experience, So I think having those resources now and kind of compensate for it is going to be 10 times more, 10 times better than having it back in the day when slavery first hit.
And I agree to that as well. I agree, and you just got to look at. I just know how politics work.
Yeah.
Before they release, they're gonna be thinking 10 steps ahead, how to get it back.
Right.
Hey, we smart enough to think 10 steps ahead too.
Not everybody. That's the point. We are.
What about this for reparations? What if they allocated that we must have the same percentage that we represent of jobs in every market? Because the number one thing is don't give me money, but put me in a position, put me in power, put me somewhere where I can thrive. So whether it's every industry needs to have this much representation of African Americans at the table, whether it's politics, whether it's, governmental positions, whether it's either oil and gas, the pharmaceutical, put us in positions where we can actually thrive, because giving us money right now, okay, that's gone. What's next? And if we ain't got no positions to actually work.
But I want the property and I would like the money. But I think that's trying to push on a lot of people didn't want was affirmative action.
Right.
That was kind of
that's what affirmative action was, but then they felt like that was reverse racism.
And that's kind of how.
No such thing as reverse racism. Let's be clear about that.
It's all about power.
There's no such thing as reverse racism.
Yeah. The point I was gonna make though, when you said that though, is putting us in powers.
No such thing as reverse racism.
Okay. We need to put qualified people in power. Don't just give us a job because we black. I don't want that.
No.
I don't want you to give me shit. I just want to have an even playing field with everybody else.
And I think that that's the whole point, is that if we don't have a seat at the table, we can never change anything. Giving us money doesn't mean that we're going to be able to be there when they try to make these rules that's going to turn everything around. At one point, guess what? Marijuana was illegal because it directly affected the African American community. Nobody was at the table when the white person, when some people figured out that it was a revenue stream, and therefore now they're making it legal with these caveats, but the only people who aren't benefiting from it is still the people that are locked up in jail behind it. But we got to put ourselves at tables. We got to sit here and push us into the economy. I don't think that we're less qualified. I think that we're not given the same opportunities. I don't think that we don't go to school and master in these same professions that can get us up in the Fortune 500 companies. We're just not given the same opportunities.
And let's be clear, not equality. We need equity across it. Okay, we were being handicapped. You put us 10 steps behind. Okay, You have to and you started the race already. You can't just say, okay, now we're just gonna put you right here, but you're still ahead of me already. It's like you have to let us catch up. Yeah. You have to give us more.
I mean, and you have to, and I like the word equality, because if you go back into history, we never really asked for equality. We asked for civil rights. We asked for you to stop spitting on us. We asked for us to be able to walk down the road. We asked to come and sit at your counter and eat like decent people. When at the end of the day, we never really asked for equal rights. We asked for civil rights. And that is so much less than we deserve. And until we go and push for equal rights, but we ain't pushing for nothing because we ain't at the table. I keep telling people, you have to start voting. You have to be political. If reparations, they can give us this money, but until we sit here and start being at the table to make these decisions, it means nothing.
But we don't run nothing.
I've
said that with
money's power.
How many adult African Americans that don't believe in voting?
That's crazy.
And they're gonna do what they want to do anyway.
I'm like, you letting them.
Man, do you know how important voting is into many other communities? Yeah. Like it blows my mind to hear that. It's like just here in Harris County, the whole switch of judges here in Harris County is amazing, and that came from voting. Nobody saw that coming.
Didn't.
It's the same thing I used to tell the peers back in the days, like we're ordering a pizza or going to get something to eat. Do you want pizza? You want a burger? Or do you want Chinese food? And the person always, the one that don't vote, get mad. Well, I didn't want that. Well, you didn't put your vote in, so shut up, okay? Yeah. But you can't complain afterwards. But that's what a lot of people do. So it's being at the table, and we have people at the table as well. I would say, but do we have people that look like us that serve in our best interest? No.
There's not enough.
Allocated. Like if we literally make up 30-something% of the how much? Maybe less than that. Whatever percent we make up, I think that's how we should be governed. Because and same thing with women. I think that women, there's 51% of women in the world. Why aren't there 51% of that type of people there making decisions for 51% of the population?
No argument there.
I don't understand that. And I think that we should allocate ourselves based on how we are. Because you need everybody's voice.
But once again, you have some people that will sell out. That's what I've seen so often.
But you can sell out when you don't have accountability. I really feel like, what's her name? She got put out the White House.
I know what you're talking about. Not Huckabee, is it?
No. The black lady who got put out.
The one that Kanye supported.
Oh, you're talking about the older lady from Houston?
No. She, oh my gosh. Omarosa.
Yeah.
Omarosa was okay selling out because there was nobody around the table to sit here and check her.
Yeah.
Ben Carson, he's okay selling out. There's nobody there to check them. The only people that's there actually might agree with the sellout Uncle Tom views that they have. No, if I'm sitting at the table and I'm like, yeah, we sure don't need any respiration, you might be like, girl.
But
I do believe
that's the point. You give a certain one, okay, we're going to take care you. Okay, we got a group of people, okay, that's being disenfranchised, all right? I'm going to take 1, 2, 3 of them out of a group of 20, and I'm going to give them I'm going to just give them a lot of money. I'm going to make them feel comfortable. So, and put those 3 at the table, or their children at the table, and they're going to feel like, well, I didn't have those issues, so y'all need to get up and do what you need to do. That's what I see so often.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's power in numbers, and there's comfort in numbers, and then there's social peer pressures that come. Like if you're in a group of 10, maybe Latinos, 10 white, 10 Asians, 10 African Americans, which one are you going to feel more comfortable to speak your mind in? And I feel like that's the one that you most likely look like them, because of social peer pressures. If you're staying in a group of Trump supporters and you're not a Trump supporter, it's harder for you to speak out. But if you're more than just you, there's power in numbers. Agreed. And I think that's why there should be an allocation of representation. That's all I'm asking for.
I feel that too. Like I said, I'm all about just being qualified. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't want to I don't want you to give me a job just because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? I want you to give it to me because, I deserve it. I earned it. I'm the right person for the job.
Right.
But do you think it happened on the other side? People get jobs just...
They need to stop that shit too.
But they're not. That's the whole thing, is that we ask for things to be equal when we're not given an equal chance as the same things. So you got to play by their rules. Like at the end of the day, I'm not sure how many African Americans work at your company, but if you go to the top of the food chain and it's nothing but, you know, a whole bunch of white men, and the workers are actually does not, you know, resemble that, they cannot make rules and regulations and understand maybe your culture, maybe your background, maybe your environment. They don't consider those things. They like, oh, well, you know, if they don't get this benefit, who cares? Somebody else will give it to them. You like, no.
And I think she's referring to diversity.
Right. It's the simple concept of diversity and inclusion.
Yep.
Diversity is you want things to be diverse enough, but you want to also make sure they're included in all the decisions. And everybody's included. And when you're up there having those conversations and it's a single, you know, monogamy, like, I don't know, I forgot the word, but it's just white men making decisions on a whole bunch of women that don't look like them, Latinos, African Americans, you know, Asian Americans, everybody else that has different points of views. Yeah. That's not getting put into those decision making. Yeah. Like, you just want alternatives. You want different philosophies. Yeah.
Well, to stay on the reparations topic, I know we kind of briefly touched on this. Like, the government just giving us money wouldn't do anything, you know, because we just go out and give it right back to them.
We will.
So, speaking of that, I guess, do you think we need to do a better job of, like, budgeting and planning? Like, how do y'all budget and plan?
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so that hits me at the heart because I used to actually work with a church organization about budgeting and planning. And I used to, like, every November, December, we used to push that, okay, everybody come in here, let's budget. Next year, we're going to be prosperous. And I would sit across from people. And at that time, I was fairly younger than I was now, probably about 7, 8 years ago. And I'm talking to adults who would tell me, and I'm like, okay, well, this is how much money you make. This is how much money you spend. We have to go through it's only 3 things you can do. Make more money, spend less money, or a combination of both. That's it. That's the only way. That's the basic concept of what a budget is. This is how much you make. This is how much you spend. You want it to be on the positive side. Yeah. So you can save so that you can do whatever you need to. And how many times do we make $1 and spend $1.15? How many times do we use credit cards as our lifelines? How many times do we not understand the difference between a necessity and a want? Yeah. Like, I need this to live. Oh, I want to be cute. I want to be fly. I want to be materialistic. And people just could not make those decisions that I'm not going to go get my hair done or get this type of hairstyle because I got to look this certain way. Yeah. And you'll sit here and jeopardize not paying your bills. You'll jeopardize, you know, all that kind of stuff because you don't have, and I call it maturity. It's a maturity level. Maybe you have to get to a point where you want to be so mature that you can hold your own.
Maybe we're just more emotional people. Maybe it's more that.
No, I can't even say that because
I call it being a financial illiterate.
It is. It's financial illiteracy.
Is it really illiterate though? Like
you choose not to learn. Like it's financial. It's financial ignorance, and ignorance is the definition of the lack thereof knowledge. Yeah. You don't have knowledge of it. Your parents probably didn't do it. I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Like I had a guy that I used to talk to, and his phone used to ring because it was bill collectors. And it didn't faze him. Yeah,
but that's what's being taught.
That's what's been taught.
That's what I was taught growing up.
No,
you know, but the thing you said basic. When there's no such thing as common sense in the world, and the work that I've done, and you know, if my family members hear this, some of them still do it. Like they don't pay that bill until that disconnect notice come in. That's how. Like I come from a lower income single parent home, and that's how it was taught. And I wanted to change that. I grew up on the food stamp system. I grew up with WIC to a certain point, and that was a survival tactics they had at that time. Yeah. And do I agree with it? No, but that's what some people do to survive. And in the social work field, it's a lot of African Americans lower income, and they teach their kids these things. Their kids pay attention to these things instead of teaching them better ways to come up and get out of it. They're like, okay, this is how to beat the system.
Get over?
Yeah,
right.
Get over. Beat the system.
Oh my gosh.
Let me ask you this, Ms. D713. This is a sidebar. How do y'all feel about people who sell food stamps?
It's illegal.
I think it's illegal, and I think it's a slap in the face for everybody who does need food stamps.
Yeah.
But it's a survival tactic. That's once again, it's a survival tactic. Now, if you're doing it for the right reasons, I've seen people do it for the wrong reason. They do it to get drugs. They do
What's
it
the right reason?
So they go to the club. But some people those food stamps, they may be having enough food because some people get a lot in food stamps. but they may need cash to get another amenity.
The monetary value of it outweighs.
But my thing is this: if you need so much assistance that you have to get food stamps, maybe you need to realize how to get off food stamps so you can get the other stuff. Like I've seen people sell their food stamps, and it's because they don't work.
Correct.
They usually get, like, say you get $200 in food stamps and you only spend $100, and then I need that other $100 to get my hair done or get something that's not food. That's not what I'm helping you for.
Yeah.
That's not what that's for. That is for you to have the assistance on providing food for your family. Now, if you have too much food, like what other amenities do you think that they're trying to get with these food stamps?
So let me paint a scenario that I've actually seen. Okay, that you have a mother. She had, and we can go all the way back how she got here, but either way, she's at this moment now in life. She has 4 to 5 children. She could, let's say 4, and she's pregnant at this moment. Okay, she get $400 or something in food stamps. Okay, and that covers the Similac, the whatever, the food, baby food, all the older kids, things of that nature. But she really can't work because she has to take care of all the kids. She can't afford to send her kids to daycare every day. Okay. She's not able, and she's by herself. There's no man in the home, okay? So she has to do that, but she has to get to work. Well, she has to get the kids around. She has to get them clothes. She has to get them their haircuts and things of that nature. So she has to figure out one way or another to get it done. So that's why I believe people may do these type of things. Now, that's for some, but do I see some people misusing the system? Absolutely. And that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
But once again, I say time and time again, me being a product of food stamps, government assistance, and being where I'm at now in life, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
But I've seen some people, it becomes a problem when you stay in that situation.
Yeah.
When you don't want to grow from that situation.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I've seen people in my family and others around that made an example how to save money, how to pay bills, how to make that difference. But a lot of kids and from boys, girls, they don't see that. Only thing they see is right in front of them. And they see their mother. And usually the main people kids look up to are their parents.
Yeah.
No matter if they're doing right or wrong. I wasn't one of those kids. I was one of those kids, like when I saw my parents messing up, I was like, ugh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So paying bills, having more money than items, that's always been a thing of mine. But that goes back to illiteracy. So do we need to teach these things in the community?
How do we go about teaching it though? Like to a brick wall that somebody don't want to listen?
No, I think they do want to listen.
I say, sometimes my point, skip the parent,
go to the kid. I was just gonna say that.
You have
go
to
to
go,
the kids.
You have to go to the kid. I actually think that should be something that's in the educational curriculum. Like if you really look at our education system, I think it does not set our kids up to really have the fundamentals that they need, which is more about like budgeting, more about like nutrition and eating, like the things that you have to do to survive. I understand we need to know geometry and science, but I haven't used it at all. But I do know I need to know how to budget. I do need to know how, like what to eat and things of that nature. I need to know how to survive. And I think that's a part of it that we haven't hit on.
Let me ask y'all this. How would y'all feel about starting maybe a nonprofit organization, like an after school program where we could teach those skills to underprivileged people who don't know?
Well, I think, what is it? Nas and Will Smith, I think, just started an app or something like that where they're going to be trying to teach financial literacy because everybody recognizes that's the number one way that we're in bondage. Yeah. We don't even have money, like money, power, respect. Money, you need money. And if we sit here and make $1 and spend $1.15, we always behind. Yeah. Always. And we can't do nothing without money.
Or just not even that. Just like you said, everybody doesn't have common sense. Yeah. Maybe teach common sense skills.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you said, like the basic things to budgeting. You need to bring in more money than
it's a simple concept. And I mean, the tricky stuff that happens when people don't understand interest rates, I see that all the time from a financial illiterate standpoint where you get a credit card, you think it's free money, but you don't understand. You just bought something that's worth $1 and you about to pay $1.25 for it.
But the same thing on the reverse end, people don't know how to use their credit to a positive as well.
Right.
Because a lot of things like coming from the lower middle class, it was taught that, just don't get any credit cards. Just don't ever use it.
My granddaddy paid cash for everything.
But if you know how to manage it correctly, you really come out.
And you know how I am. I Google everything. I don't take that as an excuse, because if you can Google what the score is on this game, you can Google what this new meme is, you can Google all that. They literally spell out the rules of credit scores.
Yeah.
You know how to get your credit score. If you have less than 10% of a credit balance, you're excellent. If you have this is how you get points knocked off. They literally walk you through everything.
Like those folks,
and you choose not to sit there and read that.
But they'll rather pay somebody and they'll do it for them.
And that's the biggest scam ever, because you can do it yourself.
But I know I was younger. I did that before, and I realized that was the biggest damn scam ever. Just paying them folks that money over and over again. Because when I was young, I was one of those people who got married young. You know, wasn't thinking, went through a divorce, and anybody who's been divorced, they know that, you know, you kind of suffer a financial setback after that. So I had some bad credit for a while, you know, so I had to go back, and I tried to pay people to those credit programs to fix my credit and do all that stuff. But then I started reading, I Googled and figured out how to do it myself. I fixed my own credit in like 90 days.
Right.
It was simple.
The best way to hide a secret from
anybody is to write it down. Us. Write it down.
But put it in a what?
Put it in a book.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I mean, I was sold on it.
You were sold on it because you thought it was a quick fix.
Yeah.
Because there's so many times when I used to do tax work where people would just be like, I don't know how to do taxes. And I'm just like, literally, if you read this form, it says find box 1A.
Yeah.
There it goes. Put it here. Now find box 2. Yeah. Put that number here. It's so easy, but I guess it's a misconception that you just don't like taxes, or taxes are hard. And anybody who makes under $100,000, I tell them, go ahead and do TurboTax.
Yeah.
You can read. They ask you simple questions. Do you own a home? Yes or no. Yeah. Did you do this? Yes or no. They make it so simple where you should do it yourself.
Yeah.
But we are not financially literate to understand that these are simple concepts. And if you understand what taxes are, it's a simple concept.
And you know,
and what a refund is.
And to pull it back together, I'm like when I was talking about the reparations, and it goes back. I think when we talk about reparations, we need to come together and talk about, make a plan.
We need a plan.
And we need to educate ourselves. What should we do for the money? Because and this is another topic for another show. But being African American, we're not unified across the front at all. It's like we're separated in so many different levels within ourselves, and that's why you see some people act a certain way. You know, I've heard say people, "Oh, you're black," but that's an N-word right there. Yeah. And I'm like, no.
I mean, they have the same. I would say, we're not the only culture like that. They have white people, and they have trailer park, and they, they have hillbillies, and they,
But once again, we are still in that position that we're trying to come up.
Right.
We're still a disproportionalized minority that is usually we're in the worst situations. It was said on our last episode, the episode before last, stating that we are the minority of the minorities here in America. So we have to start planning together. We have to start communicating. We have to start hating each other, and we can talk about killing each other and just communicate. And when we try to give advice to one another, it's not just he or she thinks they're better than me. Yeah. We're really trying to help.
And some do come off as if they're better than you when they try to tell you.
I had this in my own family. Yeah. Man, everybody in my family, well, not everybody, the younger ones don't know so much, but the older ones, they know the strife I've been through in my life. They've seen the things that I've experienced. Yeah. And when I try to come back and express like, hey, let's try this, let's try that, sometimes it falls on deaf ears. And
then sometimes though, you're younger though. So people that are older, I've found out they don't want to hear that from you. They think once they get to a certain age, they're like, I got this. Ain't nothing he can tell me that I ain't been through already.
But I had that happen with my budget instead of coming asking me for money, ask for advice then.
Yeah. Hey, but that's the topic for another conversation, man. Another episode.
But I also look at something in family, friends, and all that. And you see, I've seen people that I know your financial worries because you express those to me. But you going on cruises, you going on vacation. I see it on Facebook.
Hey, but that brings me back to my question I asked earlier, though. Are we more emotional people? Like, do we more live for the feeling and not really the responsibility? Like to be accountable for our actions.
Nowadays, I would say we are so glamorized by social media. We're so glamorized by instant gratification. Yeah. If we started thinking more long term and say not necessarily what do I want in my lifetime, but what do I want for my children, I think we would make better decisions. Yeah. We would stop trying to go on these cruises now because we realize that we needed to save this money so we can have a nest egg, or maybe our children would be able to have a down payment for their house. Like, that's my ultimate goal. Like, what white people sometimes do is they give their kids money for down payments.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're still staying in apartments and giving our money to the system.
I think
we're still doing some stuff that isn't structurally setting them up for an advantage. Like, we're not giving them. I know that's a topic for another.
We can briefly talk on this though, and I think we had this conversation last time we were together about different cultures letting their kids stay with them until they actually have enough money to move out.
Oh, I'm so for that.
Yeah.
I am so for the fact that if I have a child and they are a good child, if they went to college and they come back, I would let them stay with me as long as I knew they were saving their money, paying off of that, because I think our culture is the ones that push them out and put them in financial debt automatically. And now they're trying to pay their student loans. They probably in an entry-level job on top of having to pay rent and all this other stuff. I've seen other cultures let their kids get there, establish themselves, make some savings, and then once they get married or they can leave the nest debt-free, that's better. We literally kick our kids out and just be like, y'all on your own. Now, if you in my house acting like you grown, I get it. But if you're there respectful, I think you should let your kids stay there, pay off their student loans, have a savings. Cherish the fact that your children are doing the right things. Now, if they're selling drugs or whatever the negative thing, like that total extreme, they ain't doing nothing, they don't have no job.
Well, if them drugs go buy you a house in the future,
nah, man.
Like,
I want your drug money.
And worth it. That's been done
Like,
before.
yeah.
You know.
If I can't sleep at night,
get my house shot up.
Yeah.
But I think maybe, but like you said, though, we just need to plan ahead. Like, a lot of people already have a college fund set up for their kids. And they have a plan, or they like, hey, you need to fill out these scholarships.
Do you?
I know.
For your kids have a savings?
Yeah, we got a savings account for them. But I think, well, I have a cousin that works like in the field, like with colleges and stuff like that, and she's what's it called, not like a counselor, but like an advisor, yeah. And so she tells me about how many scholarships are available out there, and people just need to apply. Like, it's so much money people donate to the colleges to give scholarships, and you just have to apply, and people just don't apply. It's just for having the being able to blink your left eye, you can get a scholarship. Just anything.
And that's something I work with kids that are in DFPS custody or foster care. A lot of people don't know kids in foster care get free tuition for the rest of their life when they age out. Everything you said, kind of with reparations, they kind of give reparations to kids in CPS custody.
They're giving a bad deal.
Yeah, but and that's why I said we have to educate ourselves about it, because the majority of children don't take advantage of that free tuition, because you know why? They don't know the benefit of it.
Yeah.
So
I really think we should get some people together, man. Throw some ideas around, man. We can start something,
but
man.
You know, everything
culture.
It's all about messaging.
But it's talking about it as execution.
It is.
So, we talked about doing this show a whole year before
so,
actually doing it.
I mean, what's the execution? Like, what's the plan? Do we sit here and what's your focus? Like, we literally just talked about 10 different topics. You have to focus on what is it? Are we trying to get kids scholarships? Are we trying to get, because education is key, right? That's what's going to get us.
Yeah. We're just trying to educate our community and that would like to do more about financial literacy, home ownership, and we can list all those things out later. But if anyone's out here listening would like to assist or give us point us in direction, share your information with us. We would love to do so.
We also want to hear those Juneteenth stories too. Like, how do you celebrate, or do you celebrate in your area if you're from Texas or somewhere in the South?
Like, do you do in Louisiana? Do you go up north? Just what's your overall feedback? And as well as about reparations, what do you think, or do you think we should receive reparations? So share those ideas, those comments, man. We love to have them. Don't call my cell. Don't text me. Leave a comment on Instagram at Everything Culture. You can leave a comment on Facebook. Find us on Everything Culture. You go to our website at everythingculture.com. You also can go to our Twitter at EveryTHG Culture. You can find us on all those things, but we love to hear your feedback, share, post, like, or just give an honest feedback. That's what we want to have. Also, I want to give a shout out to J Square for these awesome shirts, Everything Culture shirts that will be available on our website soon. Check us out. As well as we always want to remember our good friend around this time in our life. We remember in our life was Felix Nunn-Wanyiri,
R.I.P. Felix.
Soul. And we're gonna touch on that one day on this show, but there's something that good group of friends that we experience, and it goes back to, you know, gun violence, peace in the neighborhood. You don't know how these affect children and affects families and affect futures of others. And as I always want to thank our guests, Honeybee. You know, thank you for coming
Thanks for coming on, Miss Honeybee.
I enjoyed myself.
Yes.
You want to shout out your Instagram or any kind of social media, anything like that?
Nah, I've been real focused. I actually don't even partake in most of that. So, no.
I also want to give a shout out to Miss D713. Tomorrow's her birthday. Happy birthday, Miss D713.
Mrs. D713.
I'm sorry, yes. Mrs. D713.
Turning 21.
Dumb country.
Fine ass.
Thought you were trying to stop cussing.
She is fine. And her ass is fine. I have no problem with that.
All right, man. You want to take us out with the great words from Dr. Martin Luther King?
As the late great Dr. Martin Luther King said at Cornell University years ago, that men hate each other because they fear each other, and they fear each other because they don't know each other. They don't know each other because they are segregated and they're not able to communicate. So here on Everything Culture, our focus is bridge that gap of communication and bring everyone together so we can love one another and grow. Thank you all so much, and God bless.